God, this legal bullshit better not interfere with G-Fest this year.
You know, if you just drop out of the race, then half of your problems go away, right?
Not likely. Melania said she's staying.
Finally, what took you two so long?
Yeah, apologies. Me and Barack were out doing some shopping for an upcoming project of mine.
George is going to be doing a piece for the G-Fest art competition.
Oh, that's awesome, George. You have any idea what you're going to do yet?
Probably a crossover of some kind, but not 100% sure on what.
You could do Evangelion. That's a solid one.
Same genre, popular in both the US and Japan. I don't see a downside to that.
Back to Godzilla stuff. I see we have a couple new faces on the tier list.
Yeah, I missed some designs during the initial creation of the tier list, so I added them in later.
I wonder how short this one's going to be because most of the Heisei designs look the same.
We can always rank the TriStar and Millennium designs in addition to the Heisei ones.
Let's get the Heisei designs underway, starting with the 1989 design.
There's definitely worse designs out there.
He looks like a
Jesus Christ, Donald, way out of pocket.
We let a lot of your BS slide, but goddamn.
Speak the truth once and you have a horde of angry liberals trying to silence you.
No, it's because you'd get us canceled and deplatformed.
Didn't ask for your opinion, Towers.
And that's time out for you.
Back to business. I'm not afraid to say this is the worst Heisei design here. I'm voting C tier.
I second that. This design just doesn't stack up to the rest of them.
It's leagues ahead of the other C tier entries, so does top of C tier sound fair?
I don't oppose that placement.
Neither do I.
I regret nothing I said.
Yeah, we guessed as much.
We voted top of C tier for the 89 design.
Would have said top of B tier because the Heisei era had a higher standard of quality, but top of C works too.
Okay, moving on to Godzilla vs. Biollante.
I think we've got our first S tier of the list, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to stop you right there, Georgie boy.
I'm not debating you on this. Barack put this in S tier.
This is without a doubt one of the better Heisei designs we got. But I'm sorry, George, this is not an S tier.
It's a much-needed step up from the 89 design and really set the baseline for the future Heisei designs as well.
Okay, and there's a reason the Heisei design is the one painted on the side of Toho Studios.
Yeah, because it's a damn good design. We're not arguing you on that. But compare this with another Heisei design like Burning Godzilla. It's clear which design is superior.
All the qualifications for a great Godzilla design are there. It's proportional, looks great on screen with every shot it's in, stellar visual effects. I'm thinking top of A tier.
I wholeheartedly endorse this ranking.
A tier is a fine placement for it.
I'm calling fraud. No way this is A tier.
Stay in your own flight path, Georgie. Calling fraud is my joke.
Damn, that was your weakest 9/11 joke yet?
You wouldn't know a good one even if it slammed into your house.
Okay, the next design is Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah.
Not much to talk about here. Another solid design overall. And the nuclear pulse attack Godzilla got was very cool too.
Glad to see they're bringing it back in the new empire.
Barack, I know I'm usually harping on Joe for his dementia-riddled ass, but you missed the Godzillasaurus design.
I told you I don't have dementia, Donald.
Do you even listen to any of your speeches, Sleepy?
Do you listen to yours? That was quite a Valentine you sent over to Putin.
Okay, let's drop it. We have Godzillas to rank.
Gonna be honest, but I think this one should actually be lower than the Godzilla vs. Biollante design.
What's with the sudden change in opinion?
In some of the shots, the head seems abnormally pointed, especially on the promotional poster. Once I noticed that it really bothered me.
Is that your only reason?
No. After some thinking on what Donald said about the Biollante Godzilla design, I've changed my opinion.
I'm looking at images of the poster. He's right. It's way more apparent in this design than other Heisei incarnations.
What are you thinking then, George?
I'm going with top of B tier. Still a great design, but that pointed head is just too noticeable in comparison to the other designs.
I'm not opposed to top of B tier. What about you, Joe?
Ah, what the hell. I'll bend the knee to the Republicans on this one.
Is that what you were doing? I thought you'd fallen and couldn't get up.
I know something else of yours that can't get up.
Attacking the low-hanging fruit, Joe?
Oh, they're low, all right.
Just like his bank account.
Fuck all of you.
Lock in, gentlemen, because Heisei Godzilla vs. Mothra is next.
No major changes to this suit either, aside from eye color.
Might just be me, but the neck on this design looks thicker compared to the rest of them.
Now that you mention it, you do have a point. It does look a bit thicker than the rest.
I'm inclined to vote B tier for this design due to the over-reliance of ranged attacks.
Definitely the most glaring drawback of this Godzilla incarnation by a mile.
In terms of ranking, I'd say it's better than most of the B-tier placements.
100%. Though I'd argue it's not as good as the Godzilla v Ghidorah design because of the ranged attack reliance and lack of a new ability.
I'd say a high B tier then, and place it behind the Godzilla v Ghidorah design.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Neither would I. High B tier it is.
Okay then, a high B tier for Godzilla versus Mothra.
Now we're cooking with gas. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2.
What an absolute classic incarnation of the G-Man.
It looks fantastic in every single shot and a good balance of melee and ranged combat.
And for the cherry on top, you've got the spiral heat ray. Definitely just as iconic as the blue atomic breath.
I'd argue this is still the most expressive Godzilla we've ever gotten, regardless of the modern incarnations.
So many emotions can be observed in those eyes after finally meeting baby Godzilla for the first time.
A damn good design that introduced an iconic ability. Easy S tier.
Agreed, S tier.
S tier for Dad of the Year.
Bro doesn't need child support because he is the child support.
Took No Child Left Behind to a whole new level.
Ain't no way I just heard you say that.
That teacher support came down faster than the towers.
God damn, Joe.
I know, right? I'm so proud of him.
Donald, stop enabling him.
No, I don't think I will.
Okay, I get it. Standardized testing's a bitch. Can we move on to Baby Godzilla now?
Now this is Baby Godzilla done right.
Look at that little guy. How could you not love him?
S tier solely for being such a dapper young lad.
I can agree to that.
S tier right next to his father.
Unanimous S tier for the little guy. I couldn't be prouder.
Looks like we're getting closer to the end. Next is the Godzilla v Space Godzilla design.
Definitely up there with the other incarnations like Mecha Godzilla 2 and Biolante.
I don't know, I'd have to disagree. This version felt nerfed when going up against Space Godzilla.
He didn't have his full attention on the battle. He was trying to protect his son while taking hits from Space Godzilla.
Space Godzilla can also deflect Godzilla's atomic breath. It could have deflected the spiral heat ray as well.
He also probably wanted to make Space Godzilla suffer for taking his son, so he only used the spiral heat ray at the end.
So what are we thinking for a ranking then?
Seeing as it didn't introduce a new ability, I'd say high A tier behind the Biolante design.
I wouldn't be opposed to that placement.
Sure, I'm fine with that. High A tier it is.
Godzilla v Space Godzilla gets a final ranking of high A tier.
We've got an iffy one up next, gentlemen, with Space Godzilla. Wasn't sure if we should include him or not, so I just played it safe.
It's a very nice monster design that grows on me more every time I see it.
We know there is supposed to be a post-credit scene in the new Empire, and everyone's hoping it's going to be Space Godzilla.
A modern makeover for this design would be a very welcome sight.
Definitely a nice design, but I wouldn't give it an incredibly high rank because it's technically not a true Godzilla.
It does have a lot of cool abilities going for it that would be nice to see with modern CGI.
Since it's technically not a true Godzilla, I wouldn't give it anything higher than top of C tier.
I don't oppose that placement.
All very fair points, so top of C tier is a generous placement.
G tier or Iraq's gonna look like a fucking tea party.
Give me G tier or give me death.
Anything lower and the Houthis are gonna know how it feels to chew 5 gum.
Didn't even have to say anything.
We finally arrived, Burning Godzilla, the most goated Heisei design by a mile.
The impending doom this design imposes is done in such a simple way.
The infinite heat ray, the steam billowing from Godzilla's body, the crackling dorsal plates. This design has it all.
While the OG film is the most goated for me, this design is just too iconic. Top of G tier.
Definitely a candidate for the greatest Godzilla design of all time.
And we've reached the end of the Heisei era with Godzilla Jr.
I really appreciate the evolution we got to see this guy go through across the era.
Only real criticism I have is the dorsal plates being too small. I wish they were more prominent.
It's a very nice design, and I like the similarities to the Godzillasaurus from Godzilla v King Ghidorah.
I'd argue it's a better design than even the '89 incarnation. So I'm voting high C tier behind Space Godzilla.
I agree, it's far more consistent with the later Heisei designs.
And so we end our Heisei rankings with a C tier. All good rankings across the board.
Damn, we actually took longer to rank the Heisei era than the Showa era.
Goes to show just how similar each design is, so we have to be more thorough with rankings.
I better get started on what I want to do for this art project. Before you know it, we'll be on Air Force One headed to Chicago.
That reminds me, George, I have some Evangelion figurines I can lend to you if you want some references.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome, thanks.
Don, you better stop cycling through lawyers if you want to have any amount of spending money while we're there.
Fuck you, Sleepy.